Thank you. Again, welcome, Attorney General. I'm going to do something maybe a bit different. I'm going to try to find consensus where we can, see how far we go. Do you agree that the Wagner organization associated with Russia should be a foreign terrorist organization under U.S. law?
I think they are a organization that's committing war crimes, an organization that's damaging the United States. I think they've already been designated as a
Criminal,
TCO. I'm trying to get that.
I want to go up a notch. Are you okay with that?
I understand. This is the way in which determinations are made with respect to terrorist organizations come through the State Department. They have to make determinations of what the consequence is for countries that have them in them.
Do you object to me trying to make them a foreign terrorist?
I don't object. I think, though, that I would defer in the end to the State Department on this.
Yeah, well, I bet we'll all come together on that one. Fentanyl deaths are more than gun and accident deaths combined in the United States. Did you know that?
Yes, sir.
I mean, how would you describe the fentanyl problem in America?
It's a horrible epidemic,
okay.
But it's an epidemic that's been unleashed on purpose by the Sinaloa and the New Generation Jalisco cartels.
Okay. Let's just stop and absorb that for a moment. It's a horrible epidemic. It kills more people than car wrecks and gun violence combined. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? Under current law, fentanyl loses its Schedule I status by the end of the year. You oppose that, I assume?
I certainly do. All fentanyl-related drugs should be scheduled permanently.
Do you support mandatory minimums for people dealing in fentanyl?
I think we already have mandatory minimums for people.
Do you think they should be increased?
I think we have more than enough ability now to attack this problem.
Well, would you agree with me? Whatever we have is not working.
Well,
whatever we're doing is not working.
I agree with that because of the number of deaths that you pointed out.
So just keep an open mind that what we got on the books is not working. If somebody gave a pill to another person with arsenic or ricin, could they be charged with murder because that will kill you?
Absolutely.
Okay, if somebody gave a candy-shaped pill full of fentanyl, could they be charged with murder?
Well, they can be charged with drug trafficking leading to death. I don't think the statute says murder, okay, but it does say specifically aims at that. We have brought prosecutions. I know, having discussed this with the U.S. Attorney in Colorado and the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York.
So Senator Cotton's got a proposal to dramatically increase the penalties associated with fentanyl. I'd like to work with you and the chairman, if we could, to find a bipartisan solution to this problem to create deterrence that doesn't exist. Mexican drug cartels, should they be designated foreign terrorist organizations under U.S. law?
Yeah, I think it's the same answer I gave before. They are already designated in any number of ways and sanctioned by the Treasury.
Would you oppose some of us trying to make them foreign terrorist organizations?
I wouldn't oppose it, but again, I want to point out there are diplomatic concerns. We need the assistance of Mexico in this and designating.
Is Mexico helping us effectively with our fentanyl problem?
They are helping us, but they could do much more. There's no question about that.
Well, if this is helping, I would hate to see what not helping looks like. Well, so the bottom line for me is they're not helping, and we need to up our game when it comes to fentanyl. Gitmo, are you familiar with the Gitmo prison?
I haven't been there, if that's what you're asking.
No, I mean, but you know that we have foreign terrorists housed there, is that right?
I certainly do.
Do you agree with me that under the law of war, an enemy combatant properly designated can be held to the end of hostilities?
Yes, that's the law both of the circuit I was on before and the Supreme Court.
Right. So do you agree with me that ISIS and Al-Qaeda is still at war with us?
Yes, I do.
So you agree that anybody associated with these organizations could be held indefinitely if they present a risk to the American people?
I think they could. I think that the determination of whether they present a risk and how they should be dealt with is a determination to be made by the Defense Department, and the Defense Department is making.
But legally, they can be held as long as they're a risk, and that could be for the rest of their lives, correct?
I think that's right. It obviously depends on the facts of the determination.
I totally agree. Do you believe Russia is committing crimes against humanity?
I do.
Okay, that's a pretty bold statement. Should we create an international court to support charges of crime of aggression. Do you support that idea?
So the United States supports what is now being developed in The Hague, sponsored by Eurojust, looking into the possibility of creating that court. There are concerns that we have to take into account with respect to how that might deal with our own service members in other circumstances. We have to be sure that the appropriate guardrails are up, but we support any number of different ways in which war crimes, crimes against humanity, and the potential for crimes against aggression are
I'd
investigated.
like to work with you in that regard. I think that's something we could do.
I would be happy to.
When it comes to federal prisons, are you aware that 1,200 prisoners are requesting to be sent from a male prison to a female prison?
I'm not, no.
Okay. What is our policy when it comes to allowing a male prisoner to be transitioned into a female prison?
I think if you're generally asking the question of how trans people are dealt with in the Bureau of Prisons, my understanding is that these are determinations about where they're placed or where people are placed in general have to do with individualized determinations regarding the security of that individual and the management of the prison. These are done on a case-by-case basis. That's my understanding.
Are you aware of any policy guidelines that they use to make that determination?
I think there is a policy guideline along the lines that I just said, that they are.
I would like for the Bureau of Prisons to send it to us. Are you concerned that if a biological male is sent to a female prison, that could be a risk to female prisoners?
I think every person in prison has to be dealt with dignity and respect. That determinations of the safety questions you're talking about have to be made on an individualized basis and not categorically.
Okay. Finally, let's end where we started, fentanyl. If this drug is killing more Americans in car wrecks and gun violence combined, do you believe that the policies we have today in effect are working?
I've been involved in the problem of drug crime and drug trafficking for more than 40 years, including...
That's not my question. It's not how long you've been involved. Are they working?
They are not stopping fentanyl from killing Americans, if that's the question you're asking.
You say they're woefully inadequate to the task.
We are putting all the resources that Congress provides to us into doing this. The DEA is doing, we are starting at the precursor level when precursors are sent from China to Mexico. We are then working on attacking the labs.
My time is up. Mr. Attorney, they're not working. And we're going to help you if you'll work with us to give you more tools. I hope you will meet us in the middle.